Hi, my name's Brianna. I am baking cinnamon rolls today. I'm going to try to start a business called Breeze Bless and Bakes. I have made these cinnamon rolls twice already, and I have modified the recipe just a little bit, so I'll show you guys how I modified the recipe. Okay, so this recipe should be easy for everybody to make. I am a beginner baker. I do like baking things from scratch in my tiny apartment kitchen. I do have in front of me some unbleached flour. I use the gold medal brand. Um, Unbleached is better just because of like the flavor, and I think it carries the flavor more for sure. I have a third of a cup of sugar right here. I have rapid rise instant yeast. This is the best one that I've figured that can be used easily. I have 6 tablespoons of butter chopped up in cubes, as well as 1 1/3 cup of whole milk, and I have a room temperature egg. So my modifications for this is I put a little bit of vanilla extract, a little bit of this honey, and a little bit of Miss Butterworth syrup in it. All right, so TV magic. I microwaved this for approximately, I had to do 1 minute and 15 seconds. It will look like there's a lot of butter layer on the top. There is milk under here. And while I was gone, I put in a bowl 1.5 cups of flour for after we mix our wet ingredients inside of the dough. So we can add in our butter mixture. Make sure that the butter mixture isn't too hot or it can kill the yeast. I like mixing the buttermilk mixture before I throw in the egg, just to ensure that I can actually get some chunks out, and it will be normal if it looks like cake batter. That is, it scared me at first that it looked like cake batter, but after we throw in that extra 1.5 cups of flour, it looks a lot better. So we just crack in that egg and then whisk in the egg. Okay. I have noodle arms, so it's taken an arm and a leg to stir this up. Okay, and then while the batter is like this, I do like to add in a little bit of my vanilla. And then I typically add in 1 teaspoon of honey and 1 teaspoon of syrup. So let's get that all going. Okay, that's fine. I do like avocado oil because it's a little bit healthier for you, as well as it tastes pretty good, and I don't even like avocados. So then we add in our 1 teaspoon of syrup, and this actually adds a lot of flavor. My fiance does not like cinnamon rolls, but he will eat these up. So let's mix in these flavors together. All right, now that those are all mixed up, I would recommend discarding the whisk now, as we are going to put 1.5 cups of flour in here just to get the dough all going. I have a silicone spatula, and I'm just going to mix this up. Typically, this does call for an electric mixer, but I personally don't have one, and that is okay that I don't have one. I can still make these very well, very good. The whole family is gonna like this. Making a mess is a requirement I did forget one ingredient, so one moment, I will get that ingredient all put in. I am just putting just a tiny bit of cinnamon in here. I would say approximately like a quarter teaspoon, since there is going to be cinnamon in the filling, as well as I like to put a little bit in the frosting as well. I do use a cream cheese frosting. I know many people don't like cream cheese, but me and my household, as well as my fiance's parents, like cream cheese, so we use cream cheese frosting. You will get an arm workout mixing this up too. Make sure you wash your hands before you do this part, but I am going to go in with my hands. I am going to put a little bit of flour on my hands. From my leftover flour that I do have here, and start mixing it up. Honestly, it should look like a ball of dough by this point. Mine does not, so I might need to add just a little bit more flour. That is definitely not what it's supposed to look like. So we are going to add a little bit more flour, if I can get it off my hands. Get off me. So I added approximately maybe 2 tablespoons of flour into this. And that's, excuse that loudness. And that's starting to look more like the dough that we are wanting. Yeah, it's starting to come off my hands. Typically, that's a good sign. I am going to add in the rest of the flour that I have in that bag, because it's very, very, very sticky still, and it's not supposed to be. I have made this recipe quite a few times, and it may have because I used 2 different brands of flour, due to just using the excess flour that we do have in the pantry. This is going to take some time just kneading the flour in. This is starting to look a lot better. As soon as it sets as well, it does get less sticky. I also don't have a rolling pin, which is kind of cool because I stretch this out by hand and make sure that it's all situated. Now I'm going to go in with both hands to knead this dough, since it is being quite stubborn, to try to knead. And while I am doing that, I am going to grease this bowl here in just a moment so that we can let the dough set. Alright, now that my dough is all mixed, this is how you know it's good. I may have added just a little bit too much flour, but it should be okay, since we would add flour anyways to the countertops when we roll it out. My fiance is disgusting and likes to try the raw dough, so we're gonna have him try it to see if it's missing anything in regard to the ingredients. There you go. Is it good?
It's actually pretty well balanced.
He wanted to add a little bit more vanilla, so we added a little bit more vanilla. He said that it was bitter, so we'll see if he likes this a little bit more. So I'm gonna go mix this up and then show you guys what it looks like after, and have him try it again. My countertops are clean. They are clean. This is what my dough does look like right now. It's very stretchy, which is what it's supposed to be. It is just a little bit sticky. It's also supposed to be a little bit sticky, but it also shouldn't be so sticky to the point it sticks to your hands. All the dough is practically off my hands, except for when it was very, very sticky and it was on the back of my fingers. So since the vanilla is all mixed in, I am going to have my fiance try this again. He is helping me film all my videos, by the way. So if you hear a voice in the background, it's him. And then as you are making these, you can modify as you go. We put caramel in our last ones and they turned out pretty good. You can put food coloring in it for occasions. anything like that. Typically, the recipe doesn't call for honey or syrup for pancakes, but I put it in because my fiance thought it would be good, and so I tried it, and now I won't make cinnamon rolls without them. So, yeah, so we just put this in our lightly greased bowl that I put the, what's this called? Dough in. This does call for unsalted butter, but I'm using salted, so we don't have to add salt in there. It doesn't really make too much of a difference. Um, but yeah, so you leave your dough in this bowl, lightly greased, and you cover it with a towel for approximately 1 hour. So I will see you guys when my dough has risen, rised, or doubles in size, in um, which it shouldn't be too long, just an hour, and I will be back to make the filling. Okay, so I don't know what happened with my microphone here. Actually, I do. I didn't turn it on. My dough has been doubled in size by this point. And then we are going to start making our filling. So what we need is a whole stick of butter, which is approximately half a cup of butter. And it has to be softened or else it won't go into the paste like you are going to see a little bit later on. And then we would need 2/3 cup of lightly packed brown sugar. I repeat, that is 2/3. I do make extra filling later on. I will tell you the measurements when we do get there, to the extra filling. And then I do add a little extra while I'm here anyways as well, just because we do like filling in the house. Filling and frosting. And then here I am laughing at my fiance for making a stupid joke. Per usual. Okay. And then we are going to add 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. My little tablespoon measurement could barely fit inside of the container that the cinnamon is in. But I made it fit because, yeah, and that's what she said. And then I also add a little bit extra cinnamon since I couldn't get it all the way in there with full scoop of tablespoon. And oh, I guess I'm adding more cinnamon. And then we're just gonna mix this up until it does turn into a paste. It is a little difficult at first. Now that this has turned into a paste, we are going to get the counter ready for cinnamon rolls. That definitely looks like some doo-doo, but it tastes really good, I promise. Also, bless you, dog. I know you heard that. And then I am going to add a sprinkle of flour to the counter. I definitely need more baking tools if I'm going to continue baking. Yep, okay. And there's more flour. I add more flour to the middle usually because that's the part where I knead my dough. As you can see how I'm kneading my dough and where I am kneading my dough. I don't have a rolling pin, and I don't really care to get a rolling pin because I can do this by hand perfectly fine. I don't know why I was using both hands. I am not that weak. And then here I am manually stretching it out. And then picking out a dog hair. Dog hair is a condiment. If you don't have dog hair in your food, then you don't have a dog. Okay, now that my dough is almost ready and I am still laughing at my fiance being stupid, I am giving the dough CPR for some reason on here. And trying to get it more square. Now that my dough is flattened out and square, I am going to start adding in my cinnamon filling. I just plop it typically closer to the corner that you're in, or like the side that you're on. I don't know why I tried spreading this out with a silicone spatula. I use my hands all the time. I spread it out by my hand and make my fiance turn this faucet on for me so I can wash my hands. Here I am unamused using the silicone spatula and about to go in raw and dirty. There we go. Thank you. Now that this is all spread out evenly, except for now that my cinnamon rolls are all evenly spread out, I am just gonna roll them, hopefully evenly. I wouldn't worry too much about the ends unless you used a rolling pin and have even ends. Personally, I don't worry too much about the ends. I just like the middle. But I do have this all rolled out. So now that this is all rolled out, I wouldn't worry about the flour on the counter just yet. I am going to grab a knife and chop the ends off. Again, making a mess is a requirement. And then you would just slice your cinnamon rolls as so. I like slicing them all and then placing them in the pan so I know how much cinnamon rolls I do have, so I can evenly spread them out in the pan. I do have a lightly greased pan, and I am going to evenly place my cinnamon rolls. Get extra cinnamon in the middle. That's the best part. Anyways, I'm going to evenly place my cinnamon rolls in the pan, like so. I may have a little bit extra to put in a separate dish. I will give those cinnamon rolls to friends and family just so that they can try them and say, hey, these cinnamon rolls are actually pretty good. But these are all evenly cut besides that one. I don't know what that one's doing. Just to ensure that it is very well, we're going to place them right here in the pans. I'm going to place this one in the middle, the tiny one. These are small, which is nice, so that if they don't like it, which I don't know why they wouldn't, then they're smaller. But this one is going to be for Bailey and I, as well as possibly some family. If you have leftover dough like this, it should be fine. You can discard it. And then what we would do is we would place a paper towel over top of both of these. I'm going to put the dish rag on top of this one just because it already has been used. And we will set it aside and let it rise for 1 more hour. And I will see you guys back when I'm done with that. Okay, now that our cinnamon rolls are sitting there to rest, I'm going to grab approximately 4 to, let's say, like 6 ounces of cream cheese. It all depends how much frosting you would prefer and or like. My family definitely likes a lot more frosting. In regard to that, and then you would grab another half a cup of butter. I like mixing this up before I put the powdered sugar in there. So let's get that all going. Depending on what your heart desires, we add vanilla to it. Since we're supposed to add vanilla, It is going to be 1 teaspoon. I'm going to add just a little bit more to that. And my fiance really likes just a little bit of lemon, tiniest bit. Like approximately 3 drops. It gives it just a little bit of like tardiness, and then whatever your heart desires, you can put as much powdered sugar in there. It does call for approximately 3 cups. I'm just gonna put maybe 2 cups in here for now, and then I am going to actually we're putting the whole bag in there. Again, it does call for 3 cups. I personally think that's absurd. But that's just me. I do like more cream cheese than powdered sugar. So give me a few moments and I'll get this all mixed up. Okay, now that this is all mixed up, or at least mainly mixed up, I am going to put a little bit of cinnamon in here. My family prefers just like a little bit of cinnamon, not too much, but also not too little. Just to give it that more cinnamony flavor, even though I do have extra filling in these ones. I haven't put extra filling in them yet, except for today, so hopefully they turn out good. So he's gonna taste test this and tell me what it needs or if it's good. So now we're adding just more, what's it called, powdered sugar in here, just to dial down the cream cheese just a little bit, and then just a little bit more vanilla. As promised, I did pour in the whole bag of powdered sugar. If I need more powdered sugar, if I need more cream cheese, I do have more in the fridge. I have recruited some help. Gotta mix it like very well.
You want to taste test this just to make sure you don't have too much?
Yeah, I don't have any more powdered sugar.
So it kind of looks like pudding. Can't get the, it's like 2 big chunks of sugar.
You can modify this any which way that you can or want or will. Like we probably put 2 teaspoons of vanilla in here, maybe even 3, just because we like the flavor. And it typically doesn't call for lemon, but we put a few drops of lemon in there as well. And you can always color this for occasions, anything like that. This is going to be the easy part of being able to do that. And I'm going to let this sit with the cinnamon rolls, and as soon as they are done rising, I will be back and let you know how to bake these in the oven. Alright, so now that I am back after watching another episode of my show, these cinnamon rolls have rose. So we preheat the oven to 350 and put them in for about 20 to 30-ish minutes. And I'll see you guys in about 20 to 30 minutes. Alright, so now that the cinnamon rolls are out of the oven and they look nice and golden, we are going to go in with our icing and cover all of them. A thick layer for every single one of them. You don't have to wait until they are cooled off. Typically, I would recommend it. Otherwise, your icing will seep like a little too much and you don't get too much icing flavor. Make sure you get a nice even layer on there. I just gotta remember to save some icing for my other batch that I do have right next to this batch. I typically use a silicone spatula to spread this all around, but all of my silicone spatulas are dirty from today. Typically I do have more. Now that they are all nice and lathered, they are ready to eat and enjoy. They're best served warm, so heat them up in the microwave for about 15 to 45 seconds. And those are my homemade cinnamon rolls.